My name is Aiko, and maybe you've heard stories about powerful alphas and weak omegas, but none of those stories are like mine, because mine isn't a fairy tale. It's messy, painful, filled with love, hate, and heartbreak so deep I thought I would never survive it. Hey guys, sorry for the interrupt. I just want you guys to subscribe to my channel for more videos. Also, don't forget to like and share. I love you guys, thanks for your support. So let's get back to the story. In our world, alphas rule everything: the businesses, the wealth, the power, even the air feels like it bends around them. Betas live ordinary lives, simple and steady. But omegas like me? We are fragile in their eyes, weak, the ones who feel too much, love too deeply, break too easily. And yet, it was me, the weakest omega in the city, who caught the attention of the strongest alpha anyone had ever known. His name was Ranji Takahashi. Even saying his name now feels like summoning a storm. Ranji was a man people whispered about in awe and fear. The heir to a fortune that spanned across continents, the CEO of the most powerful company in Japan, a man with eyes the color of molten gold and a presence that could silence an entire room. People said he had everything: wealth, looks, power, women lining up just to get a single glance from him. And somehow, for reasons I never understood at first, he chose me. Back then, I was nobody. Just a simple omega girl working in a tiny flower shop at the edge of the city. My days were quiet, peaceful, predictable. I liked it that way. But one rainy evening, everything changed. The door to my shop swung open, and there he was, as tall, broad-shouldered, rain dripping from his black trench coat. His sharp eyes locked on me like he had been looking for me his whole life. My breath caught in my throat. I had seen him on TV before, in magazines, looking untouchable, like a king staring down from his throne. And now here he was, standing in front of me. "Are you Aiko?" His voice was deep, smooth, and commanding, the kind of voice that made you listen even if you didn't want to. I nodded, unsure what to say. He handed me a single white lily. "This is for you." I didn't know it then, but that moment changed everything. After that day, Ranji kept coming back. Sometimes to buy flowers. Sometimes with excuses so ridiculous it made me laugh. He was persistent in a way I wasn't used to. Sweet messages. Late-night phone calls. Expensive gifts that made my cheeks burn because I had never owned anything so luxurious before. For someone like me, who had always felt small, invisible even, his attention felt like sunlight after years of rain. Slowly, against my better judgment, I fell for him, and when Ranji loved, he loved intensely. He was protective, possessive even, always watching, always making sure I was safe. When his arms wrapped around me, the world outside didn't matter. I thought I had found my forever. I thought love would be enough to bridge the distance between his world and mine. But love with a man like Ranji Takahashi was never simple. The first cracks began to show when I realized how controlling he could be. He hated when I spoke to other men, even casually. He hated when I kept secrets, even small ones. I told myself it was because he cared, because alphas were naturally protective, but deep down I started to feel like a bird trapped in a beautiful, golden cage. And then came the night everything shattered. I found out Ranji was arranged to marry someone else, a woman from a powerful alpha family. Their marriage would merge two empires, creating a dynasty that no one could rival. A perfect match, the media called it. The ultimate power couple. When I confronted him, my hands shaking, my heart breaking, he didn't deny it. He just looked at me with those cold golden eyes and said, "It's business, Aiko. It has nothing to do with us." Nothing to do with us? The words cut deeper than any knife. I felt like the biggest fool in the world. All this time, I had believed I was special, that what we had was real, but in the end, I was just the weak little omega he could throw aside when duty called. I left him that night. The days that followed were hell. Ranji called. He texted. He showed up at my tiny apartment, but I refused to see him. I told myself I hated him. I told myself I would forget him. But the bond between an alpha and an omega isn't so easy to break. My body ached for him. My heart betrayed me every night, whispering his name in the dark when I was too weak to fight it, and then I found out I was pregnant. Panic consumed me. I was too poor, too weak, too alone. How could I raise a child in a world like this? Especially his child, the child of Rinji Takahashi, a man whose life was made of power and wealth while mine was made of scraps and shadows. So I kept it a secret. I quit my job, moved to a quieter part of the city, and disappeared from his world completely. Months passed. I heard through the news that Rinji had married her, the alpha woman. Their wedding photos were everywhere, magazines, television, social media. They looked perfect together. And me? I was alone, carrying his child, watching from the shadows like some tragic cliché. I told myself I hated him. I told myself I didn't care. But late at night, when I felt the baby kick, I cried because part of me still loved him. A year passed before fate decided to be cruel again. I was walking home from work, holding my son, our son, when a sleek black car pulled up beside me. The door opened, and there he was. Rinji. He looked thinner, colder, like he hadn't slept in months. His golden eyes widened when they fell on the child in my arms, on the tiny face that looked so much like his own. Aiko. Is he? I didn't answer. I didn't have to. My silence was enough. Something in Rinji's face cracked that day. Something raw and desperate replaced the cold arrogance I once knew. From that moment on, Rinji refused to leave us alone. He divorced his wife. Rumors exploded across the media, scandals everywhere. He begged me to let him see his son, to let him explain, to let him fix everything he broke, but I was terrified. The pain he caused, the nights I spent alone, the child I raised in secret. Could I ever forgive him? Rinji changed after that. He wasn't the same man who once handed me a white lily with that infuriating smirk. He was quieter now, humbler, always showing up with food, with toys, with anything our son needed. He learned how to hold him, feed him, rock him to sleep. And slowly, against my will, my heart began to soften. One rainy night, just like the night we met, Rinji stood outside my apartment, soaked to the bone, refusing to leave until I opened the door. His voice was softer than I had ever heard it when he said, Aiko. I know I ruined everything. But please. Give me one more chance. Not for me. For us. For him. Our son reached out for him, giggling like he understood something I didn't. And in that moment, I realized the truth I had been denying for so long. I was still in love with him. I always had been. It wasn't easy after that. We argued. We cried. We rebuilt everything piece by piece, slowly, painfully. But this time there were no secrets, no business deals, no arranged marriages standing between us. Just us. The weak omega and the strongest alpha. The man who broke me and the man who fought to put me back together again, because sometimes, love isn't about strength or weakness. Sometimes it's about who refuses to give up, even when the world tells you to walk away. And Rinji Takahashi. He never gave up on me. That's how the alpha who broke me became the man I built a life with. Our story wasn't perfect. It was messy, complicated, full of mistakes. But it was real. And it was ours.